Welcome to Lesson 3, Brazilian Music History, 1900 to 1920. Exactly in the year 1900 was opened in Brazil and South America the first record label called Casa Edson, translated to Edson's House, in the state of Rio de Janeiro. It was founded by Frederico Figner. Frederico was born in Czechoslovakia and came to Brazil in 1891, bringing with him new technologies as the phonograph. He went many areas of Brazil, showing the new technology to many people. When he arrived at Rio de Janeiro, he opened the Casa Edson. In the beginning, the label only import and sell records, but in 1902, it released what it is considered to be the first Brazilian music record in Brazil, the Lundu Isto é Bom, translated to This is Good, composed by Xisto Bahia, a singer and composer from the 1800s. The music was sung by Baiano, stage name of Manuel Pedro dos Santos. Baiano is known by his recorded jobs, being one of the pioneers in recording songs in Brazil. Now let's hear Isto é Bom.
Os padres gostam de moças e os doutores também. Eu, como rapaz solteiro, gosto mais do que ninguém. Ser bom, ser bom, ser bom que dói.
Soon, in the 1900, one of the most played and famous songs on Brazil was O Abre Alas, composed by Chiquinha da Gonzaga. O Abre Alas was the first marcha carnavalesca with lyrics in it. Marcha carnavalesca, it is a kind of song produced to be played at carnival parties that were very popular in Brazil. She was also the first female pianist of choro, another musical genre that will surge. Also the first woman in Brazil to regent an orchestra. In the year 2012 was made a new law in Brazil to celebrate the Day of Popular Brazilian Music. The birth date of Chiquinha da Gonzaga was chosen to be the celebration date. Now let's hear O Abre Alas.
O abre alas, eu quero passar. Peço licença pra poder desabafar. A jardineira abandonou meu jardim, porque a rosa resolveu passar de mim. A jardineira abandonou meu jardim, porque a rosa resolveu passar de mim. O abre alas, eu quero passar. Peço licença pra poder desabafar. A jardineira abandonou meu jardim.
Some famous recordings musicians searched between 1900 to 1909. Among them are Baiano. Baiano recorded the first song of Brazil in 1902, the song Isto é Bom that we heard. He also recorded the first samba, Pelo Telefone, in 1917. Now let's hear a part of Pelo Telefone, that means by the telephone.
O chefe da folia pelo telefone manda me avisar que com alegria não se questione para se brincar. Ai, 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 é deixar mágoas pra trás, ô rapaz. Ai, 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 fica triste se é capaz de esperar. Ai, ai, é deixar mágoas pra trás, ô rapaz. Ai, ai, fica triste se é capaz de esperar.
Another band that recorded much in this time was the Banda do Corpo de Bombeiros, translated to Band of Firefighters Corps. In that time in Brazil was common to have bands of firefighters corps, police corps, infantry corps. Now let's hear a song of Banda do Corpo de Bombeiros. Cadete. Manuel Evencio da Costa Moreira, most known as Cadete. Cadete born in Pernambuco in the year 1874. He got this nickname after matriculate in the military school, but he dropped out after being arrested sometimes for insubordination. Now let's hear music of Cadete.
Na hora em que se cobre de neve a soraria, o gelo em que cobre murmurar Ave Maria e traz cruel saudade do tempo.
Eduardo das Neves. Eduardo was a pioneer recording artist in Brazil too. He also was a clown. He has more than 200 recordings. Now let's hear a music of Eduardo das Neves.
Olim Balanço, cantado e acompanhado ao violão por Eduardo das Neves, para Casa Edson, Rio de Janeiro. Garrafão tem fundo de aço, botica não tem pescoço, pedaço de telecaco, banana não tem caroço, bola embalagem, bola em cima, bola embaixo, bola embalagem por causa do caruru, quem não come da castanha não percebe do caju, quem não come do caju não percebe do fubá.
Between 1910 to 1919, surged more famous recording musicians. Among them are Américo Giacomino, canhoto. In Brazil, canhoto means left-handed. He received that nickname because he played the guitar without invert the strings. He was very popular in the Brazilian music history, as he was one of the persons who popularized the guitar in Brazil with great performances he did. Let's hear a song of Canhoto. Ernesto Nazaré was a very important name in the Brazilian music. He is considered to be a great name in machixe, also known as the Brazilian tank that we will study much more in the lesson 32. In the first years of Brazilian record, which was 1902, as we saw, the band of Corpo de Bombeiros recorded the song Está Chumbado, which the author is Ernesto Nazaré. Now let's hear one of the most famous songs of Ernesto Nazaré. Francisco Alves is considered by many as one of the most big and important Brazilian musicians, recorded more than 500 discs, being the number one with most recorded songs in Brazil. He received the nickname of King of the Voice by the famous radialist César Ladeira. He recorded the first electronic disc in Brazil by the years 30 to 50s. He was one of the most famous Brazilian singers. Now let's hear a Simon song of Brazil, written by Ari Barroso and sung by Francisco Alves. Aquarela do Brasil.
Meu Brasil brasileiro, meu mulato risoneiro, vou cantar-te nos meus versos o Brasil samba que dá bamboleio e faz ginga, o Brasil do meu amor, terra de Nosso Senhor. Brasil, pra mim.
Senhor. Senhor was one of the pioneers in the genre samba. He received the nickname King of Samba, also named as one of the composers of the first samba record, Pelo Telefone. Now let's hear one of his compositions, singed by Francisco Alves and Rosa Negra.
Porque foi que tu deixaste nossa casa na favela?
Não quero saber mais dela, não quero saber mais dela.
A casa que eu te dei tem uma porta e chinela.
Não quero saber mais dela, não quero saber mais dela. Português, tu não me importa, me respeite, eu sou donzela. Não vou na tua cotoca, nem vou morar na favela.
Vicente Celestino. Vicente Celestino was a famous Brazilian musician from that time. In 1905, when he was 11 years old, he went to a show where he heard Baiano and Eduardo das Neves, two pioneer recording artists in Brazil. Then Vicente decided that he wanted to be a singer. In the years 1920, he was one of the most acclaimed musicians, having one of the longest careers between the musicians of his time. Also in 1927, when the electronic process of recording started, Vicente had difficulties with it, as his voice was considered very potent. He had to record his voice from a distance of about 20 meters of the microphone. But the records did not sound good as they sounded with echo and hard to comprehend. A foreign engineer was called and he could solve this problem. Now let's hear music of Vicente Celestino.
Este mundo sem teto dormia às noites num banco tosco de jardim, sem ter a proteção de afeto.
We are almost finishing lesson 3. For this lesson, try to find a song of the one of the artists we studied in the lesson. And after hearing it, post the name of the artist, the song, and what you thought about the music. Was a pleasure have you here. Thank you. See you in next lesson.